We're going to cover a rather large chunk of territory this week. This started off as a simple discussion of subject analysis, but I quickly realized that you have to have some context in which subject analysis could be placed. Hence, some discussion of the codex form of the book, the impact of the printing press, the advent of the title page, and some material on the development of cataloging codes and the card catalog. The card catalog, of course, is mainly no longer with us, but cataloging codes certainly are. Conceptually, a lot of the thinking about cataloging codes dates back to the era of the card catalog and the 3x5 card. Marshall McLuhan once observed that we look at the future through a rearview mirror. Something to think about. Finally, we arrive at one part of the tripartite system we refer to as cataloging. Subject headings can be, and often are, the subject of savage debates in library land. We'll get into that some next week. The most widely used subject heading system in the United States is somewhat clunky, very slow to recognize change or adopt new terms, and somewhat conservative in approach. To be fair, when you're dealing with a collection of 25 million books, let alone all the other stuff, change is not something you undertake with great rapidity. As you will see, there are also debates about the very nature of language used to describe various pieces of information. Boiled down to the minimum, the two sides are controlled vocabulary and free text, or keyword searching. Until the last few years, I've always come down firmly on the side of controlled vocabulary, and by and large I still do. Downstream in the course, I will turn to situations where it turns out that sometimes keyword searching can be exceedingly useful, although this did not come about until the advent of full text searching. If we're dealing with a system in which anything less than full text searching is employed, then controlled vocabulary is still the preferable method to employ. Given where we are in the course, I think that the possible questions about the nature of subject headings, when looked at through the lens of Gramsci's writings, should be fairly obvious. Something else to consider is that library users are far more apt to have a direct understanding of subject headings than they are of classification. Some users will figure out after a while that books of a similar topic tend to gather together on the shelf, but the numbers or letters may or may not mean anything to them. Words, on the other hand, are immediately understood by everybody. Subject headings are a far more obvious manifestation of ways of looking at the world than our classification systems, and hence we need to pay considerable attention to what is being said. And that should keep you busy for a while. Well, that and the homework assignment.